So unfortunately, removing woody invasive plants tends to be a pretty big part of forestry management. Whether it's bush honeysuckle, Callery pear, or in this case, white mulberry, most of us are going to deal with some sort of woody invasive in the forested land we manage. Luckily, removing woody invasives is pretty much the same no matter what you're dealing with. What you really want to do is get it cut as low to the ground as possible and apply some sort of concentrated herbicide, 20% glyphosate being a common one. Whenever I go to remove a woody invasive plant though, I like to remove the top of it first. If I were to go to try to cut this at the base right by the ground, all this stuff would fall on me, it's going to get in my way. So I like to just clear it out and make my job a little bit easier. In this case, I can use hand pruners. If you have a larger tree, you might need to use a chainsaw or maybe a pair of loppers or maybe even a handsaw. But once I've taken the bulk of the tree away, now I can easily get down to the base and I don't have to worry about all that brush falling on me or getting in my way. So I just really want to ensure that I'm cutting this as close to the ground as possible. And I also want to cut it level to the ground. If I cut it at an angle, a lot of the herbicide I spray on it might tend to run off of it and not absorb into the cambium tissue. So keeping the saw about parallel to the ground, I just get a nice flush cut. It's not going to create too many tripping hazards, and it's going to be easy for me to apply my herbicide to. So most herbicides are going to require you to wear some PPE or personal protective equipment. In the case of 20% glyphosate solution, you're going to need to wear long sleeves, gloves, pants, closed-toed shoes, preferably boots, and eye protection. The label actually requires you to wear these things, so especially if you're doing this for any sort of job, you're probably legally required to wear this personal protective equipment. If you're not, it's just a good idea because it prevents that chemical from absorbing into your skin and causing problems. Spray bottles with measuring markers like this are great for applying concentrated herbicide because it's just a one-stop shop for both measuring and applying the herbicide. So when you're applying when you're applying a rate of 20% glyphosate, what you're going to want to do is get concentrated glyphosate, which typically comes 41%. You're just going to cut that in half with water. So you're going to fill up, depending on how high you want to go, maybe you go to the 10-ounce mark with your 41% glyphosate, fill up to 20 ounces with water, and then you've got your 20% mixture. When you apply it to the stump of a small tree like this, you're just going to want to spray it. If you have a really large tree, it's important to remember that the ring around the outside is going to have most of the active tissue. So if you have a really large stump and you don't want to waste herbicide, if you just apply it to that outer ring, you're going to just treat the active tissue, save yourself some chemical, and still successfully remove that woody invasive plant.